Here's a segment from the latest edition of St. Charles Parish Today, a monthly local talk show.
We've all heard the phrase, "it only takes one," in reference to what is deemed a good or bad hurricane season. Most of us have seen just what one of these storms can do. But how likely are you to evacuate if the parish asks you? If you're like me, then you probably have friends or family that have stayed through storms and lived to tell the tale. But is this the wisest decision? This year, the parish embarked on an extensive campaign to educate residents about hurricane preparedness. Here with me to discuss the campaign and give us some insight on how and why the parish makes decisions is Emergency Preparedness Director Joe Ganote. All right, Joe, thanks for coming on the show with me today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's get into it. The EOC, along with my office, conducted a hurricane preparedness campaign that encompassed 14 presentations, a brochure that was mailed to all residents, a video version of that brochure, an interactive web version of that brochure, and a social media campaign that documented every step along the way. Is it safe to say that we made hurricane preparedness a priority this year?
Certainly, that was one of our goals this season, is to make sure that we made it a priority, and then we got out in the community and gave the people an opportunity to ask questions, and because it's been since 2005 since we really experienced a big hurricane. So it's been some time, and I wanted to try to stave off some of the complacency and let people ask those hard questions.
So, and I think you touched on this, so the reason why we did it is that complacency that we think might have taken place?
Yeah, I mean, most people identify with Katrina. I mean, that was 2005. And here we are in 2017. It seems like the hurricane models are coming on, the forecasts are going to be a little bit more aggressive or more often this year coming up, and at least that's what they're expecting in the predictions. So I wanted to make sure we got out ahead of it. We answered the questions that people wanted answered, and which we had a lot of good questions and a lot of good conversation with folks. And I think just to let them know that, hey, don't get complacent, that this can still happen. And I know it's been several years since Katrina, but it can happen this season.
Let's get into the actual presentation.
Okay.
There's a piece of the presentation that I think struck home for most residents. So I'm going to air that. So let's take a look now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh God, please let it stop. It's gonna be in a house in a few minutes, Faye.
Look at me, Hop. Hop! Oh God, I can't believe this. Stay, CJ. Come on, Hop. She's trying to get on the table and can't. Hop! Hop!
I'm recording. A few bad mistakes in my life, but this has got to be the biggest mistake anybody can make. This is 2434 St. Mary Lexington Place. This is my sister-in-law's house. I made a mistake in trying to stay here. I'll never be my life. Me and my wife survived, but only by God's will we survived. This is Lexington. This is the street going out. There's a man over there. The water came up. In 3 minutes, it went from the ground to the roof. And somebody else. This is Lexington Place. This is what I want to show you. You build these big, beautiful houses, and you think you're so safe. I thought I was safe. I was stupid. Lexington Place. Billions of dollars. This is my Pammy. We made it one more time. What time that phone got, Pam? 5:05. It's 5:05. It's getting late. There's snakes on the roof. There's nutris on the roof. roofs. There's muskrats everywhere. There's muskrats right in the front of my P-Rod, right there. And we hoping we don't have to spend the night here with snakes crawling in our roof. Like I said, somebody over this way in one of these houses here is hollering for help. So they can hold on long enough. I know there's help coming, but they got a lot of people needed. There's cars. Here's a car here. This is Sue's roof. Directly over they swimming. Have nothing, no car, no house. I'm gonna climb down off this roof now. I'm filming this to show people. You run, partner. You don't be a fool like me. One more shot of this. This is where I hope we don't have to spend the night. One more night here. We're in the attic. Down in there. I'm sure it's kind of dark. I hope when I get rescued I can bring CJ. I don't know if they'll let me. But he is like my son. We got another dog in there with 3 puppies. I didn't ask for her. She found us. And I don't know how. We all still alive, but they deserve to live. Just like us. I don't know if can you see me, Pam? If you can see me. This is Fabian. I'm glad to be alive. I'll never stay through another hurricane again. I will run.
Can you give us the background of that video?
So the video we just saw was of Pam and Fabian Guerrera, a couple out of Hopedale, Louisiana, who evacuated to St. Bernard Parish inside a protection levee where they thought they were safe, and they were very comfortable with going there. And I saw the video for the first time at the National Hurricane Conference, and I was moved by it. And I thought, this is something that people need to see. And it was an emotional video, as you can tell. Fabian, he turns the camera on himself and he talks about, listen to your emergency managers and don't get caught. Don't be like me. He used words where he no longer has a choice. He went to a place he thought was safe, but never again. He's going to go far, far away and make sure that he is safe and his wife is safe. So I saw it the second time at LEPA, at the Louisiana Emergency Preparedness Association, and had to have it. And once we got it, obviously, we wanted to make that part of our campaign because I think it does have a great impact on people.
And honestly, it's one of the things we got the most feedback on.
Yeah.
So in the presentation, you mentioned that water is the leading cause of death. Do you think that that's what people expected it to be, or?
No, most people are looking at wind.
During a hurricane, let me clarify, during a hurricane.
Correct. So they're going to board their homes and their businesses from the wind, and they worry about the wind, but ultimately it's surge. We worry about with our coastline eroding, and we have so much water in our area that we get a wind-driven storm, something as simple as Hurricane Isaac, where it's just a tropical storm / hurricane, and we have flooding. So really surge is the #1 killer when it comes to hurricane and the threats that come with it.
As the Director of Emergency Preparedness, where do you get your information during a hurricane?
So
what tools do you use?
Okay, so we listen to the experts. That's the most important thing. We'll listen to the National Hurricane Center. There's experts there. Very, very smart people, and we have a direct line to be able to speak with those folks, the forecasters. The National Weather Service in Slidell, which is a New Orleans office, they're fantastic at keeping us abreast of what's going on, way ahead of the information that we would normally not get. And then we use our own modeling tools at the EOC, which is like HurrEvac, which is a planning tool which takes all the information and data from a storm and historical storms, and what that does is it allows us to make good decisions. It's a decision-making tool. So what we want to be able to do is make sure that we can see the storm, know what it's going to do, prepare for its impacts, and get people to safety. And so we use it a lot of times for evacuation orders and things of that nature. And then of course you have SLOSH, which is the older model that people use, and it's a lot of historical data with all the parameters of a storm, and you can kind of gauge based on our coastline what type of surge we could potentially get.
And I think it's important to highlight those tools come from professionals, people that do this for a living, not out of their basement on social media.
Correct. I mean, a lot of people want to go shop for storm predictions and tracks and things of that nature. We don't listen to social media. There's a few folks out there that they're very good at what they do, and they're successful. Colorado State University, Phil Klotzbach and his group, Dr. Klotzbach took over for Dr. William Gray, who passed away, and they do all the major predictions for every year, and they're very, very accurate. We listen to those folks. But no, we're not listening to social media and some guy in California in his basement trying to make some sort of prediction.
All right, so we all know that the West Bank Hurricane Protection Levee is well underway, and that the East Bank majority of the East Bank is protected by a federal levee. You made a statement in your presentations that levees are designed to protect property and evacuation orders are designed to protect life. Why is that distinction so important?
So I think it goes back to complacency. People feel that they have a protection levee that is, when they look out their back door and say, I have a protection levee, I'm good to go. And you are, until it tops that levee. And surge we go back to surge and water, and when it tops the levee, if a levee's 5 feet tall and you have a 6-foot surge, obviously you're going to get water. If you get water inside of that protection levee, you have to pump it out, and pumps only work so fast. And then you have rain on top of that. So when you have a training storm, something that's moving very, very slowly with a lot of surge, pushing water in, dumping a lot of rain, inside of that protection levee, although it may protect you and give you some time to get out, but ultimately it's really there to protect your property. It's not there to protect you directly. So when you get an order, and we've gotten the prediction, we know what we potentially could get, and it's always safer to get people out than to sit back and wait, and hopefully we don't get water inside of that protection levee.
Absolutely. All right, so where can our residents get the latest if there's a storm?
There's plenty of places where you can get it. So first of all, you can call the EOC and get information there. Government Access Channel is always going to be the first place that I would go. Facebook, Twitter, all the social media sites, and follow the government there. We're going to have the updated statements and what's going on. And then if you're out there digging on your own, obviously go to the National Weather Service and National Hurricane Center. Do not go to all the social media sites that you can't identify with. It might be just...
If it doesn't have a check mark, probably you shouldn't be on it.
That's correct. That's correct.
All right, so I just have one last question for you. What is the most important thing that you want residents to know going into hurricane season?
I think just make sure that you're prepared mentally and physically prepared to leave when we ask you to leave. We're not going to ask you to leave if you don't need to, but we're always going to err on the side of caution. As an emergency manager, the protection life is the #1 thing in my mind. I can't lay my head on the pillow if I know that I put people at risk. So I know that if we can get people out safely, and maybe the storm takes a 40-mile jog like Hurricane Katrina and didn't have as great of effect as it could have, and we saved lives, but you were inconvenienced, I'd rather you be inconvenienced and alive than staying back here and we have to rescue you.
Look, thanks for coming on the show with me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Look for the entire episode at www.scptoday.com or on SCP TV.